Hi everybody, Sean here, and it's time for the next exciting instalment of the Friday question. This is episode 3. Uh, what I want to do first, before I go into the question that we've received, is just address something about the way I answer questions. You might find that sometimes I ramble a little bit. The reason for that is because I don't want to be too scripted. I don't want to read questions off the answers off the internet or off articles and read them verbatim to you, because that's just me regurgitating somebody else's information. What I like to do with these is I'll get the question, I'll give myself 5 minutes to look at it, I might write a couple of notes down, and then I'll go and I'll try and do it as unscripted as possible, because that means it's my opinions and my thoughts on things rather than just an autonomic response. So if you don't like the way I do things, then don't watch. Very simple. Okay, if you do, then watch, indulge. You don't have to listen to everything I say. Bear in mind, these are my opinions. Some of it is based on factual research. Some of it is just the way I think about things. Okay, so moving swiftly on. A question comes over the internet, and we'll read this one out. It says, I'm female, late 20s, and have always hated my body. I'm not particularly overweight, but I dislike my proportions and how I look. I train hard and see changes slowly. How do I make a big difference to how I look? I constantly want to achieve perfection. Is this possible? Okay, so 2 questions in there, but we'll let that go. The first question is simpler to answer, and also a little bit more difficult, because I don't know, if you're watching this, I don't know how you train specifically. You say you train hard, but it does depend on what you're doing to train. Now, this is coming from experience of working in commercial gyms for a few years and seeing what people do in general. From a female's point of view, or from what I see females do, is that they want to get in and change their body shape. They'll get in and they'll hit the treadmill for 30 minutes, the cross training for 30 minutes, and they'll go on the bike for 30 minutes, and then they might do a little bit on the old abduction machines, and that'll be about it. If you're doing that, there's no real problem with that if you're training hard, but you're not going to see massive change in your body shape. It'll make you better at using those machines. What you need to start doing is mixing up some high intensity cardio, so lower the time you're using on your cardio, go harder at it, and also incorporate some weight training. Weight training is going to elicit the muscular response you want to increase the tone and start to see some changes in your body shape. Bear in mind, you're not going to alter your proportions too much, because if you have wide hips, you can't change your skeleton. So if you want to know more about how to achieve your training, you can email me again and just ask me and just tell me a little bit more specifically about what your training is, and then we can help you on there. Another way we can look at changing your body in particular is your nutrition. And it's really, really simple. Again, I don't know your diet plan, I don't know what you're eating, but if you make a couple of changes, big things can happen. And the biggest thing you can change is start eating clean. Now, eating clean isn't complicated. It just means you take away preservatives, you take away chemicals, and you eat fresh food. So food is supposed to rot. If you have food in your cupboards that won't go off, it's not good for you. Food is supposed to rot, so you go buy your food from your farmers markets, buy meat, buy veg, buy fruit that's in season, and eat it. If it was alive fairly recently, then it's good for you. You can't really overeat on good, clean food. So potentially switch up a few things, get rid of anything that's got chemicals in it, get rid of anything that's got preservatives in it, and make that change. And you probably see changes fairly quickly in that respect. So pick up the weight training, eat clean. Those are the best 2 ways to see changes in your body. Okay, now on to the next part of the question, and this is a bit more interesting for me, because again, it's a psychological question. This is about perfection. You constantly want to achieve perfection, and that's not a bad thing. Now, the problem I have with answering this question is one simple thing. As you may or may not be aware, I'm not a female. Never have been, never going to be. So it's difficult for me to understand the pressure that females in today's society are under to achieve perfection, because of all the magazines you see, all the tabloids, all the trashy magazines. You see pictures of people in bikinis all the time saying this one looks perfect, this one looks horrendous, and sometimes they look pretty much identical. It depends who's the flavour of the month at that time. But there's such a spotlight on females to achieve physical perfection that it can be difficult, and your views on perfection can be distorted. So what you need to identify first is, what is perfection for you? So is it a physical thing? Do you want to look perfect? If so, what is perfect for you? Is perfect getting to a size 12 dress, or a size 10 dress, or size 8, or however you want to go? Or I'm not really too au fait with women's sizes. Is perfect a performance goal? You want to be able to squat 100 kilograms or farmers walk your body weight for 5 minutes without stopping. If perfection for you is achieving a certain goal, then yes, perfection is possible. But what happens when you achieve that goal? What happens then? Because an Olympic gold medalist won't then stop training because they've achieved the highest qualification they can get. They'll keep training because they know they can achieve more. Perfection is trying to achieve more and demanding more of yourself all the time. Perfection is in essence evolution from a Darwinian point of view. If we're constantly trying to improve, we're constantly chasing perfection. And in that case, perfection is not possible. But the chasing of perfection itself can be seen as perfection. We're all evolving, we're trying to be better than we are. If you're constantly trying to improve yourself, to improve how you look, because yes, looks can be important because it makes you feel better if you look better. Therefore, you're more likely to do good things in the outside world and make other people feel better. We can always look better, we can always feel better, we can always improve our performance. So by chasing perfection, that in itself can be seen as perfection. Looking perfect as a standard is different because we need to assess why you want to look perfect for a start. Who do you want to look perfect for? Is it for yourself or is it somebody else? Or are you being pressured into trying to look perfect through perspectives of magazines or who you see on TV? So we need to get a perspective, why do you want to be perfect? What exactly is it you're chasing? And from that point of view then, we start to explore a few myths around it. Perfection is perception, basically. So beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So you need to be perfect because of what you want to look like, rather than what somebody else thinks you want to look like. Okay, me perfectly. From my personal point of view, I train for athleticism and power and explosiveness in sport. But on a secondary point of view, I do want to look good for my wife. I want my wife to think I look good, and everybody wants to think their partner thinks they look good. So the perspective of who you're training for and what is perfection for you. Okay, so you need to identify those things. So you're training, train harder. Okay, you can always train harder. Lift heavier things. Go harder on your cardio, but reduce the time on that so you're getting really out of breath, get really sweaty. Eat clean, and then assess what's going to be perfect for you. If it's a goal, if perfection for you is achieving a goal, then yes, you can be perfect. If perfection is just some ideological thing, you're not going to be perfect, but that's not a bad thing. We're humans, we evolve, it's evolution. Chasing perfection and constantly improving, that's perfection to me. We can always achieve more, you can always be more, you can always do more, you can always achieve more. If you're constantly trying to improve, the chase to perfection is almost perfection itself. Okay? Now hopefully that doesn't sound too cheesy or too schmaltzy or anything like that. Again, if I've not answered your question to your satisfaction or you want to be a bit more specific, feel free to email me back. I can always help you out more. Okay, that should be it for the question today. It's a little bit longer than usual, but hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you want to email back for next week, you know the email address by now, sfhf@live.co.uk, or go through the website on the contact forms, which is www.sfhealthandfitness.co.uk. Also, sign up to the free daily email if you're on the website. On the first page of the website, there's a red box. Put your name and your email address in there. You will get emails from me every day. It'll take you a couple of minutes to read, and it's free. And it's just similar to the video. I'll just give you a bit of sometimes a rant, or sometimes my points of view on various things in exercise and fitness and motivation. So sign up today. It's free. And if you don't like it, you can always unsubscribe. It'll cost you nothing. Okay? Thanks very much. I'll see you next week.